Hello, this is Bessie from Searching for Goodness. I am really excited and happy to have WWF as our guest today. That's an organization I've been following for many years, and I'm really appreciating all the work you do. So I'll start with two questions I prepared, then we can go a little more conversational, Hannah. First question is, of course, please introduce yourself to start with and let us know what inspired the creation of the Give an Hour for Earth campaign and how does WWF hope individual actions can collectively create meaningful change for the planet?
I just want to start and say thanks so much, Bessie, for having me on today. I'm really glad to be here to talk about how we can spend this Earth Month giving back to our planet. And April isn't just a time where we're noticing the season shifting and new life, but it's really a time for us to feel reconnected to the planet. And that's why I'm so happy to be telling you about World Wildlife's Fund Give an Hour for Earth campaign. So actually, when I joined World Wildlife Fund, Give an Hour for Earth did not exist yet.
Giving 1 hour for Earth. It doesn't seem like a lot. I mean, it's just a fraction of the time we spend scrolling every night. But what if thousands of people stack their 1 hours together for the planet? Well, we could plant hundreds of trees to clean our air, inspire thousands with our creativity, start so many gardens to feed our bodies, explore vast natural places to feed our souls, and pick up heaps of trash to protect the world around us. So while one person giving 1 hour may seem like a small thing, when we do it together, we actually give tens of thousands of hours back to this planet that needs our help. This Give an Hour for Earth help us reach 150,000 hours of action. Visit our Hour Bank website to find actions, log your time, and track what we accomplish together. Nature gives us so much. Now this is your chance to give back. Give an hour for Earth and take time for the planet.
They celebrated this moment that we call Earth Hour. Earth Hour was a moment that was started by World Wildlife Fund Australia and is usually held on the last Saturday of March. And basically, it was this big awareness moment where people turn off their lights for an hour to raise awareness for climate change. And it was such a great and inspiring moment for so many because it's really special to be able to connect across time zone, across countries for a purpose that we all believe in, right? So while we still celebrate this important moment of Earth Hour, we noticed that people here in the United States particularly really wanted a way to give back. They wanted a way to take action, right? So they wanted to find tangible ways that they feel like they can make a difference. And as you know, Earth Day is a really important moment, I think, here in our country. It's celebrated in the United States on April 22nd. So we really looked at how to capitalize on these moments where people are already thinking in an environmentally forward lens and then invite them into a movement where we aren't just giving back to the planet, but we're also showing our love, our appreciation, and everything else that comes with it. So I have a really interesting stat to share with you. There is this new survey that World Wildlife Fund released called Connected by Nature. And essentially that's a report where it takes the status of Americans' attitudes towards nature. So how people feel about protecting it, the state of it, all of those ways. And in that survey, there was actually a stat that revealed that 84% of Americans worry about threats to nature. So Give an Hour for Earth really becomes that simple way to channel concern into action at a time where nature really needs us most. And I think that a really big, important part of this campaign, and like you mentioned, is the whole collective aspect of it, right? The collective impact. So while I'm asking you, hey, Bessie, would you be able to give an hour for Earth this Earth Month? An hour might seem small, right? But the idea here is that when thousands of us take that same hour to do something good for the planet, that's when the action really adds up, right? It adds tenfold for nature. And we don't want people to feel like they're alone in their care or their concerns for nature. So we actually have a goal of 150,000 hours to bank for the planet at the end of Earth Month. And I really think that this is just a good way that we can transform our shared connection with nature into shared action.
Beautiful. Um, yeah, I mean, even turning off lights for an hour, everybody doing as a collective action says something. I think it
Exactly.
has to do with like uniting for some action, a simple action together. These little things can really add up. It doesn't have to be a huge movement all of a sudden. By doing little things together, I believe in Turkish we have a saying, little drops coming by make a lake, like
That's
little by
beautiful.
little.
Little by
Um,
little, we make change. And I think,
mm,
and I want to kind of touch on an important part of that too, with this campaign is really, we wanted to make it accessible, right? So we know that, some people, you're in Los Angeles, correct?
yes.
So some people might be more in these urban spaces, right? They might not have a lot of access to green spaces or nature. We think about people in New York City.
Hmm.
So something that's really great about this campaign is we're actually asking people to give an hour for Earth, but we're providing them with ideas of how they can do that. So
Right.
whether you are living on the 12th story of a skyscraper and you watch an environmental series or movies where you learn more about pollinators or coral reefs, you're still doing something for the planet regardless of your access to nature. So we absolutely wanted to make this an accessible campaign because everyone deserves that chance to interact and learn about nature, no matter where they are or their circumstances.
Very good. In your work with WWF, what moments or initiatives have given you the greatest sense of hope about the future of an environment?
So my work at World Wildlife Fund, I mean, there's so many moments that I could talk about that just make me proud to be a panda. One thing I'm going to tell you, the one thing that I am most proud of and that makes a difference in my life is the work that I do with Wild Classroom. Wild Classroom is World Wildlife Fund's free education program. So essentially, we are a K through 12 education platform where teachers or parents can come to our website and find
Mhm.
resources about the environment. So whether it's about sea turtles in oceans, monarchs and other pollinators, the habitats of the Arctic or the Great Plains that we have. We have all of these resources that are not just free for educators, but they're informed by all of our scientists at WWF. So for me, and why I have such a passion for the environment is, I grew up loving nature, spending time outside. I grew up in a small town in
Mhm.
Ohio, so my access to nature looked like trips into the woods to find the different creatures that live in the creek and the different birds that would be flying through the trees. And I think really that access to nature that I had as a kid, if I then
Mhm.
had the resource to learn more about what I was seeing, that would have made such a huge impact. So the fact that I'm able to work at World Wildlife Fund in a capacity where I'm taking a lot of this really complicated information that we're getting from scientists, from different research across the world, and then simplifying it to then give teachers the tools to bring conservation into their classrooms. I mean, there's really nothing better. And one thing that I also want to talk about on that is this year, we were actually able
Mhm.
to start a grant funding program.
Oh, nice.
So
What
we
what
were
is that grant gonna cover? Like what type of things can we apply for?
So the grants from Wild Classroom, this was the inaugural year, and they are essentially small parts of money to bring sustainable action projects to life in either schools or communities. So we're actually in the midst of the teachers have already received their grants and they're working on their projects right
Mm.
now. We have some teachers building pollinator gardens that will then actually grow food to be used in their school cafeterias.
Hmm.
We have one teacher that's taking a park bench and outfitting it with like solar, almost mini solar panels to help generate energy that they use for their garden. We also have one school that's actually building an educational nature walk for their kids. So
Hmm.
picture a trail in the woods, and sometimes you go to nature centers and they have plaques where you can learn about the local wildlife or the local flowering species that we have. Basically, the school will be doing this and making their own informational plaques and to just help educate people and inspire them to get out into nature and explore all that is around them. So it is absolutely a rewarding thing when you're able to not just support the educators that are looking to kind of forge their students into environmental leaders, right? But we're also able to do that now with a monetary value to help give more hands-on support.
That's great. Recently, I had an interview with three people. There's an organization here. They go and plant trees and they educate children. There's like school children from all different ages. They come and look around and then they plant trees together. So it seems like a similar mission. And I think it's very important to get these things get started at a young age. Like you said, you grew up in nature. Me too. When I was back home, we used to go to a summer house in the island and there wasn't even cars around. It was like just nature. We were
Wow.
biking and swimming. I was all in nature. So when a kid starts growing up with the love of nature and animals, then as an adult, here we are, people who care for
Absolutely.
environment. So what's your thoughts on that? Like how can we maybe put this more into education system? Children
Yeah.
learn to care for environment at a young age and ecology and all that.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your experience with nature because I think really everyone I've talked to has that moment, especially from
Mm.
childhood, where they just have this connection with nature that, it forges in your brain that this is something that provides us life. And I think being able to make that connection from such an early age is really special. Similar to you, I had a really fundamental relationship with nature. And actually, I remember being in
Mm.
fifth grade and, living in Ohio, we don't have many oceans around, but I remember becoming fascinated with sharks. Like, sharks was my
Mm.
favorite animal. I wanted to learn about all the different species. I wanted to know how to protect them. So in fifth grade, I started a Save the Sharks Club. Now, it wasn't like receiving any funding, it wasn't the most popular thing in the world, but to me, it felt like I was making a difference. And I think when you have programs like Wild Classroom in education systems, you're giving students the
Mm.
agency to make change. I think, and that's something too that translates with the Give an Hour for Earth campaign. We're giving people across the country the tools to actually make a difference, a positive difference for the planet. So if we can do more to make sure that we have fundamental learning tools about biodiversity, right? Just the backbone of a lot of environmental education, like understanding how your local environment is shaped and how that local environment actually shapes the environments everywhere, right? So I would say in sum that Wild Classroom is not necessarily aiming to be the most popular or most utilized tool in the world. I mean, that's a goal from a communication standpoint, but really for us,
Mm.
we just want to make sure that teachers know that we're a trusted place that they can go for support.
Right. Um, wanna tell us a little bit more about this current Earth, April is the Earth Day month, and wanna tell a little bit about this Give an Hour for Earth campaign. How can we participate?
Absolutely.
Mm.
So, World Wildlife Fund, as you know, has given Hour for Earth campaign that is running until the end of April, so the end of
Mm.
this Earth month. And the best way that you're going to get involved is by actually visiting our website, Hour for Earth website. And on that website, you're going to find this really cool tool called the Hour Bank. Now, I had been talking a bit about the different types of actions we can do. So on the Hour Bank, there's actually 6 different lifestyle interests where you can find different actions related to it. So those are entertainment, they are health and well-being, nature, sustainability, food, and arts and creativity. So say, I believe that you're creative. I think I saw a filmmaker or in the process of, so say that you had a really great time in nature out at a park with a friend and you were inspired to write a poem, something beautiful. That can be your hour for earth action. It doesn't have to be going out and collecting trash, right? That's great. That's great if that's something you can do. But really why we're giving these choices is so people can understand that there's so many ways that you can give back that don't involve directly being in nature. Yes, well, that's great. Say that you really want to limit how much food that you've been throwing away lately. You're making dinners, you have a lot of leftovers, and you notice you're tossing those. Could you take that hour to audit your food? Take that hour to make a shopping list that you will use all of your food to ensure that you don't have too many leftovers or items you don't need, right? So it's all about finding the area in your life where you think that sustainable change can really help you, right? It's about finding the right thing for you ultimately. And it's a really great way for us to feel connected to our neighbors, to you, across state lines. Like if we are able to share in this moment together of like, oh, for Earth Day, here's how I gave back. That's just such a special point that can give us hope for generations to come.
Hi, we're the social media team at WWF, and here's how we're giving an hour for Earth.
Trash grabbers out.
Bags ready.
Let's go. Plus, a few of our colleagues came along for the ride. Give an Hour for Earth is your chance to do simple actions for the planet. Nature gives to us every single day. So today, we're giving back.
We're here in Rock Creek Park in Washington, D.C., and every piece of trash we take out of the ecosystem is a step toward a healthier planet.
Small actions make big impacts for the planet and for our communities.
For more action, check out the Hour Bank at giveanhour.worldwildlife.org and join the movement today.
How will you give your hour?
Anything else you'd like to share about your own experience? How did you get this started? How did you become a part of this organization? And what keeps you excited and motivated to keep doing this?
Yes, I got my start as a panda actually when I was still in college. So as I've told you, I grew up loving the environment. It gets to the time where we're going off to college. All right, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? The only consistent thing that I had had for a long time was my love for nature. So I decided to study environmental science, which was the greatest decision that I could have picked. But, something that I learned from that was at the beginning of my education, a lot of the classes I was taking was that more technical route, right? So it's a lot of what our scientists at World Wildlife Fund are doing, or our goal experts, right? And for me, I found that my skills really translated better to helping people understand what is going on in the environment. So that's how patients and communicating to people, being on this podcast today, being on the news, and telling people about these great initiatives at World Wildlife Fund was really my bread and butter. So I was hired on as an intern when I was still in college for Wild Classroom, which was the education program for World Wildlife Fund. And then from there, I completed my internship, got my degree, and then it kind of took a shift. I started working more for agencies, so more so communicating about what different clients are doing, like tire distributors, some food brands, even hospitals. So I kind of fell away. I lost my path to communicating about the environment, but I always knew in my heart of hearts that I wanted to come back and be a panda. So I was probably doing that other type of work for about 3 years. And then just a kismet opportunity, World Wildlife Fund opened my current position. And with my experience already with the organization, I was able to come back full force and able to be the project manager for Give an Hour for Earth. And it's just been such an amazing journey. And, something I do want to mention is just all the incredible colleagues that I have at World Wildlife Fund. Seldom do people get the chance where their personal passion intersects with their professional life. And I feel very fortunate to be in a space where I'm not just doing something that I love, but doing something that I know makes a difference. And being surrounded by the people that we have at World Wildlife Fund absolutely contributes to that.
Yes. So as you know, our project is called Searching for Goodness. And in terms of searching for goodness, what do you think we find here in WWF and Give an Hour for Earth? How do we find goodness and spread that goodness?
Yes. So the goodness that comes from Given Hour for Earth and how it helps us search for goodness is really in two main ways. One is the collective community of people that are coming together. Makes you feel a lot less alone when you see somebody else out there picking up trash, or maybe you see somebody else at an environmental film screening that you thought no one would attend, right? It gives us that shared connection with each other. Also, it helps us recognize really how much of our daily lives is intertwined with nature, right? We rely on healthy ecosystems for things like clean air, water, and food, to mental benefits, right? Like reduced stress, reduced anxiety. So if we can channel that energy back into the planet that gives us everything we need, we're in turn not just helping the planet, but we're really helping ourselves. And I think where the goodness aspect of that really shines through is that it shows us that anyone, anywhere can make a difference. And ultimately, that's a really important part of people's lives, wanting to know that they are able to make a difference and give back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a way, we're the protagonist working for nature. What's the antagonist in this situation? Like, what are we fighting against? What should we fighting against to protect the nature and animals?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with environmental issues and problems, it can often feel so large scale, right? We have things like flooding and fires and droughts, biodiversity loss, right? So we're not just up against one antagonist, as you put it, but we're up against all of these little factors, and they can be different in different places, right? That's what makes it so hard. But really, giving an outlet for people to take action, like Give an Hour for Earth, is a way that might feel minimal stacked up against these challenges. But again, I want to bring it back to the collective impact. That's what we're going for here. We're not existing in silos. We're doing all of this work together to create meaningful change for the planet. So while there are these factors that are stacked up against us, I think we have to remember the hope behind it all. You know, your podcast being like a great outlet to understand that while in the face of things that seem grim, there always is a positive way forward.
I like what you said that. Yeah, that is true. We could
Yeah.
always find some light, and light overcomes darkness, as they say. As a very current event, in my last 7 minutes, so we know astronauts went to space.
Planet Earth as seen by the crew of Artemis 2, a first for human eyes in more than a half century.
Trust us, you look amazing. You look beautiful, no matter where you're from or you know what you look like. We're all one people.
Houston is go for TLI.
That's the big news lately. And they took pictures of Earth. Have you seen the comparison to what they took now in 2026 to back in the day, 1969? When you look at Earth, what do you see? What do you think? What can we do? Because to me, it looked very polluted in comparison. Like the Earth in 1969 looks much cleaner.
Yes,
It
yes.
looks,
I did see those images you were talking about. Yeah, I mean, I think I had a similar reaction, right? Like just like how different it looks, even from the terms of like the cleanliness of the air. And I think what really came into my mind when I saw that picture was like just the global perspective of it all. I think that World Wildlife Fund has opened my eyes to not just knowing of the problems going on in our country with the environment, but the problems that other countries in different time zones are facing from me. And with that, I think the photo, while it might be, disturbing or maybe a bit raise of concern for people, it's also good to know that there are networks of people, professional, personal, that are working to make the world a better place so that hopefully when we go back to the moon, we see an even brighter version of our
Oh,
one shared home.
I love what you said that. Yeah. We have 5 minutes left, so to wrap it up, one of the astronauts, I mean, they all spoke little things, they were all very nice, but one of them emphasized like how we're all one. We gotta realize that we're all one. We're all sharing one planet, and regardless where we come from, our religion, our race, our nationality doesn't matter. Like we gotta be connect under being human race and protect the environment and animals. That's what I took out of it and keep the earth as clean as possible to extend the life on earth.
Absolutely.
Any last thoughts or words in our last 5 minutes?
I'd love to ask you, Bessie,
Mhm.
how you're going to give your hour for Earth this Earth month.
Well, I am doing several environmental organizations for Earth Day month. One of them is Three People. I'm shining a light on organizations like you. And you, I have coming up World Animal Protection, California Science Center. So my way of doing it is basically to shine a light on organizations and people like you who are actively working on the environment. And I
And that
also
is
planted a
huge.
tree. And
Yes, we
yeah.
love the trees. I actually, for Earth Day or Earth Month this year, I went back to a tree that I planted last year
Mm,
in Denver, Colorado. That's where I'm living right now.
mm,
And goodness, it's just what a cool thing, even for me personally, to be able to go back to the same spot year after year and see this tree grow. Like, even that, I
mm,
was like, wow, this is incredible, right? And I think, to end, I'm a little bit of a writer myself, and I've
mm.
been spending a lot of time out in nature. So I'd love to share a poem that I wrote on one of my past hikes out in the mountains recently, if that's okay with you.
Go on.
So here's the poem that I wrote when I was out on this hike. It was just, me and nature, and I just felt really inspired to share these words. Sitting in this moment, what more could I need? Birds soaring across the boundless sky, mountain flowers blooming at heights I've never seen, the breeze traveling through the tall evergreens, breathing life into this moment in time. What more could I need? Nothing more than right now.
Wow, beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
love it. It's really beautiful. It really touched me. I love it.
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean, I think it's just a suggestion from me. It might be a good idea to involve more people, do little competition. It could be kids making paintings or writing poems, compositions, little films. Like, you don't have to give a big thing, maybe whatever you guys can do, but it might be a good thing. Even like people can just being seen and being
Yeah,
thanked might be enough. That might, I just think it's a great, great thing you're doing, the whole organization, but I really like the Give an Hour for Earth campaign as well. I'll do my best to shine a light on and shout out for you so more
You are the
people.
best, Bessie. And again, I've been watching a lot of your episodes since we got
Mm,
confirmed for this, and just want to say thank you for using your platform to inspire people, to give people hope. It's something that can be lacking in today's day and age. So, individuals like you doing things that just keep people in a positive mindset really do make a difference. So, I want to say thank you to you as well.
thank you. It's both ways. I mean, everybody can't do everything. Like I do my thing. Like I said, I'm a filmmaker. I do what I can, and you're doing the environmental part of it. We're like puzzle pieces coming together.
And
Hope.
that's what the beauty of it, right? I want to invite everyone to give an hour for Earth this Earth month, whether it's something small or whether you want to build a whole new garden bed. Every action does count. Make sure to bank your hours and help World Wildlife Fund and our country reach 150,000 hours for Earth. She needs us, and nature needs us now, and this is a good way that we can give back.
Yes. And one last thing I'll ask from you. Can you please say with me, goodness will win? That's our slogan. Then we can wrap it up. And please subscribe to Searching for Goodness and follow WWF. Give an hour for Earth. Definitely don't miss out. Okay, let's
Okay.
do it together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodness
Goodness
will
will
win.
win.
I'll let you say it without me one time.
Okay. Goodness will win.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Hannah. I really appreciate it. I'm very pleased to meet you. And Maggie, thank you. Are you still there? Thank you for helping us coordinate this.
Yeah, this
Appreciate
was
that.
fantastic.
Thank you.